Guys, welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on my channel. Today, we've got an awesome product review for the DNT Zulus. So, thanks for hanging out with me on my channel. If you are new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I think that I pronounced the name of this night vision optic right. Zulus, Z-U-L-U-S HD. This is from DNT Optics, Day and Night Technologies. So, really excited about this review, unboxing, kind of first impressions of this night vision optic, because it's new. It's very, very affordable, and it seems to function very well. So let's just dive into it. I've got the optic right here, which I've already taken it out and kind of messed around with it just to try to get a little bit of familiarity, if that's a word, if I said that right, with the optic. Just that way I can, you know, hopefully work you guys around some of these buttons and how to operate this thing. So, inside the box, you're going to get an information card. You get a little cleaning cloth as well. Put that to the side. You will get a battery charger. You'll get a cable for the battery charger. You get a eye cup here. And then you would also get, here is a battery, 18650. I've already got one battery in this optic. So there's the second battery. You get an Allen key. And this Allen key is for the base right here. So this base is made to fit a Picatinny rail. This base does not come already pre-installed on the optic. I went ahead and took the luxury of installing this myself before we did the review, just so that way you guys could see exactly how this thing fit, or was what the package whenever it was actually put together. So let's talk about just the initial impressions of taking this thing out of the box and what I think about it. Number one is it is lightweight. It is so freaking lightweight. I am blown away. A lot of your night vision optics that's out there, if it's not a really slender profile thermal style optic, you start getting these ginormous big IR lights, big batteries, all this stuff that's just bulky and heavy and just not a joy to carry to the range, into the woods to hunt with. But this thing right here, this right here checks all those boxes for you guys looking for a very short, very small, very lightweight, compact optic that you can use into the daytime as well as night vision. That's right, I said daytime, because this optic has the ability to switch from a digital daytime mode. So basically, you see exactly what I'm seeing right now, full color display, but then you have the ability to swap over to night vision mode. So whenever it does get dark, you can use the built-in IR light to illuminate whatever it is you may be looking at. So that's a really cool feature, that you're able to use this thing in the daytime as well as at night, because a lot of feedback that I get from some people on the thermal side of things is that they feel like the thermal can only be used at nighttime. And even though that was its intended purpose and that's where the thermal shines, you do lose some of that. It's not the clarity portion. You just lose that detail that you get whenever you're looking through a digitized daytime image. You still can see the deer, you can still see the coyote, you can still see the birds, you can still see the turkey, whatever it may be that you're hunting with, or that you're hunting for. You can still see it if you're hunting it in the daytime, but it just gives you that little bit of flexibility to be able to use this optic at nighttime as well. And the package, again, I'm going to harp on this over and over again over this, is how small this unit is and compact, because I'm a huge fan of that. And just in that alone, I was kind of sold taking it out of the box and that kind of first initial feel and impression of it. And one thing that I was a little nervous about is the price point of this specific one. I was worried that it was going to feel really cheap. This one does have a built-in LRF, which we'll cover that here in just a little bit, which means it has a built-in laser rangefinder. So this unit is a little more expensive than the other one. This is a 5x20, so you're zooming from 5 to 20x, and it has the LRF. And this one comes in MSRP for right around that $600 to $650 price point. But if you don't need an LRF, you don't have a need for ranging things, then you can save a lot more money and spend around $400 to $450 and get this exact same scope. You're just missing the LRF built-in feature on this optic. So there's a lot of stuff that they crammed into this little bitty, tight, just compact package, and I'm really excited about it because there's so many different things that I feel like this thing can be utilized for. It can be used for crossbows, it can be used for obviously rifles, but one thing that I'm really excited about from this DNT lineup, which I've got another review coming out here pretty dang quick for a DNT thermal as well, and an idea of that I've got with it, I think that these things could shine really well on a shotgun platform. That's right, that's not what these things are made for, and that's not what people typically think of when they're thinking of a day and nighttime optic. But a lot of times, maybe you don't live in an area where stuff is just wide open fields where you can just get out and shoot for 400 or 500 yards. Maybe you're hunting some thicker stuff, or maybe you want something that you can turkey hunt with, but then you can also go out and call in coyotes with at nighttime. And this right here would fit that bill, and it would also do it without breaking the bank. That's the biggest thing, because if you're just getting into the night vision world, you've probably realized that it can be very, very expensive, and it can be a very expensive hobby to try to get into just right off the bat. And this offers a very great piece of equipment at a fantastic value for what all you're getting. So you get the LRF, you get the built-in IR light. The reason that the built-in IR light, in my opinion, is a big deal is because if you don't know what an IR light is, it's an infrared light. And basically it's what the night vision sensor that is in this optic is what it's designed to pick up. So when you're running the nighttime mode and you turn on an IR light, it's invisible to the human eye, but to this optic you can see. So it's basically like if you turn on a flashlight that you can see with just a normal flashlight, that's exactly what it looks like in the scope. But when you look away from the scope, it's just pitch black. A lot of optics require you to either purchase a secondary IR light, or they send you an IR light that can attach to your gun or attach to whatever weapon you're running. And sometimes they can be nice, they can be real bright, and you can see for a long ways. The problem with it goes where if you want an optic that you can take off of a multitude of different firearms and use across the board, like let's say I want to take this and put it on a 22 or a shotgun or then a big rifle, I don't have to worry about taking those individual IR lights off and having to worry about how I'm going to mount it onto that rifle. So having that built into this scope is a really big deal to me. And then the LRF, which I said we was going to mention earlier, the LRF stands for a laser range finder, for those of you that don't know what that is. The reason that that's a big deal is, let's say you get into a situation where you're not familiar with the property. Maybe you got a coyote that's standing out there at 250, 275 yards, and you don't know exactly how far he is, and you want to make sure that you're making an ethical shot. You can then range that coyote or deer or whatever it may be. You can range that animal and then either figure out your dope or know what your holdover is, or you can use the built-in ballistic calculator on this thing, because this does have that as an option, which is a fantastic add-on for this scope. One thing I did not mention is the display. So it is a 60 frame per second rate. So it's a 60 hertz rate. What that means is how fast is the image processing in this scope and relaying it to your eye. The higher the number, the better your image clarity is going to be. And the best way I can explain that is if you're looking through a scope that is at like a 60 hertz refresh rate, which this scope is, when you're panning left to right and that digital image basically is refreshing very, very fast to give you that digital image, if that number is lower, then that means as you move, you will see kind of a lag in that image as you start to pan left to right. So the higher the number, the better it is. 60 hertz is a really good refresh rate for this scope, which is why it has a lot of clarity to it and why it's very easy on the eye whenever you're using it in the daytime mode or the nighttime mode. Your display is a 1920 by 1080, so it's a really nice display that they offer on this thing. that is a lot of the exterior portion of it, and kind of just a big blanketed overview of it. But let's talk about the internals, the buttons, the functionality of it, and then let's dive into maybe some of the things I do and don't like about it. So one thing that I don't necessarily like about it is the buttons are relatively small. But again, you are getting a very small, compact package. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see there, it is the size of my hand. And it's very, very lightweight. So people have cell phones that are bigger than this unit right here. So if you've got that small of a unit, you're probably gonna have some smaller buttons that you're gonna have to work through. So if you're somebody who is used to a larger scope, if you've already been in the night vision or thermal world, these buttons are gonna feel relatively small to you. If you're somebody who has never used night vision or thermal, these buttons are probably just going to look like normal buttons to you guys. And once you figure out the layout and you figure out how to work it, it's just like anything else. That will come with just running the scope and seeing what the scope features. So the buttons are a little small, however, they are very nicely laid out. And what I mean by that is they're very simple to use. You have a power on button, then you have a menu button, and then what I really like about it is you can manually switch between the daytime mode and the nighttime mode, and you do that with one simple button. So if you're in a situation where maybe you're doing some predator hunting and you go out and you're gonna hunt that last 30 minutes of daylight, and those daggum coyotes, sometimes they don't wanna come in to that field or into an opening with just enough daylight for you to be able to see them, you can reach over, hit this button, turn it over to the nighttime mode and get your IR light running, and then you don't have to stop your hunt. You can keep on going, and then if that animal does come out into the field, you can take your shot. So I really like the simplicity of the button layout. You do have the ability to take photos as well as record with audio, which is a big deal, because if you're going to make an investment into this type of scope and you're going to be doing some pretty cool predator hunts or varmint hunts or heck, even deer hunts or whatever it may be, you can record internally with this scope and then use that footage to share with your friends and family and to keep forever, which is a really big deal nowadays, because sharing your hunts and sharing your adventures is just almost part of the process nowadays. One thing with the videoing that I do like, this is something that I am probably one of the few people that really like this feature. That comes with a micro SD card. Now the reason that that's a big deal, the reason that I like a micro SD card mainly is because the editing portion on my end, it allows me to take that micro SD card out, slap it into a computer, get those files into my editing software, and then over to my phone to where I can share them with friends and family or to share with you guys on YouTube. Whereas some of the other optics that are out there on the market, you have to download an app, you have to go in, connect to the scope, connect to the app, download the files from the scope to the app, then save the files from the app to your phone, and it's just a lengthy portion of trying to get what you've recorded off that scope to your phone or to your computer, whereas having the micro SD card, I really do enjoy that. So all in all, I am absolutely thrilled to death to be able to use this thing. It's small, it's compact, it is very, very clear, and it is a fantastic price point, guys. Again, we're talking about, if you don't need the LRF, we're talking $400. There's people paying double, triple that, quadruple that for just a normal daytime scope that has no typical nighttime features on it. But for $450 or $650, depending on the need for a laser rangefinder or not, you can get this thing right here, and you can attach it to anything. It's got a Picatinny rail, and you can take it hunting. Another cool thing that I just now kind of thought about was, if you're somebody who's going into the woods hunting, maybe you're going deer hunting, you can actually take this off your weapon and use it as a scanner. You can use it as a night vision scanner, so when you're walking through, you don't have to turn your headlamp on. You can use the IR light to help you see where you're going without having to disturb any game. And it's small enough that you can pack it into a book bag or pack it into a little fanny pack where it's not going to get in the way of anything. Just all in all, a really, really neat package. Really excited to have this thing out and start testing. I want to harp one more time. I know I've talked about the size until I'm blue in the face, but the clarity. That 60 hertz refresh rate in this screen, along with the HD glass and the clarity that this thing has, is unbelievable. When I turned this thing on and looked outside at the clarity, I was blown away at how clear this thing was and what all you got for the price point that they're offering this thing at. So if you guys are in the market, you are looking for something that is very budget friendly, very small, very lightweight, very simple to run. This right here, the Zulus, if I'm pronouncing that right, the Z-U-L-U-S from DNT Optics, you've got to love it. Give these guys a check out. I promise you, you guys are going to be amazed at this thing. They do offer these at Southern Precision Outdoors. I do have a affiliate link down low that you can click. Go over there. They've got a lot of different optics as well that you can choose from, but this specific one, as well as some of the other thermals that I'm going to be reviewing in the future, you can also get through that link as well. If there's any questions that I did not go over in this review video, make sure you drop a comment down below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And if I don't know the answer, I'll try to find somebody who does. So with that being said, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on my channel. It means the world. I will see y'all on the next episode.